So here is what is happening in Kwara right now. People in Ajase and nearby villages are crying out because they said a strange helicopter came early in the morning, flying low, circling, and then dropped armed men into the bush. Not long after, those men started moving into the villages and attacking. The painful part is this: the local vigilantes who usually protect the community had already been disarmed just days before. Their guns were collected under the excuse of servicing them, so when the armed men came, there was no real defense. That is why the people are angry, that is why they are protesting. Please, if you are following this gist, make sure you like this video and subscribe. It helps us bring you the real updates as they happen. Now, one eyewitness explained that on his way from Kogi State around 8 a.m., he met soldiers on the road. They flagged him to stop, but when he did not stop, they shot at his car. His window broke and he even got a wound on his shoulder. He survived, but it left everyone asking, why are citizens facing this kind of danger in their own land? At the same time, villagers said the helicopter kept coming back, flying over the forest, sometimes dropping, sometimes lifting. To them it looks like these attacks are being supplied from the sky. The protest today is very heavy. People are shouting, blocking roads, asking the government to explain who owns that helicopter and why armed men are being allowed to land in their villages. They believe this is not ordinary bandits but something bigger. Some are even linking it to earlier killings in other parts of Kwara. Remember, like this video and subscribe, so you don't miss the follow-up on this matter. Now, here is another angle. In July this same year, residents in Pateji and Edu areas of Kwara already raised alarm that helicopters were landing deep inside the forest at night. They feared that those flights were bringing supplies to criminals. Back then, the police commissioner said no, those were surveillance helicopters being used by security to monitor bandits. But people are now asking, if it was really surveillance, then why do attacks keep increasing? Why are vigilantes being disarmed just before attacks? And why are citizens the ones getting shot on the road? This is where the confusion is. On one side, the people say they are seeing with their eyes and suffering from attacks. On the other side, the authorities are giving official statements that don't match the reality on the ground. That is what is making people march out in protest, saying enough is enough. Friends, I want you to think about this: if armed men are truly being dropped from the sky into villages, what does it mean for the safety of everyone? Who is behind the flights? Who allowed it? And why are the communities not being protected? These are the big questions right now. Now, the protest in Kwara is not small at all. People carried placards, chanting, blocking the major roads. They are calling on the governor and on Abuja to step in quickly. Some of them are saying clearly that they feel abandoned, that government is not protecting them. Imagine living in your village, farming your land, then suddenly strange helicopters appear, and later you start hearing gunshots in the night. Who will not be afraid? Who will not protest? This issue is shaking trust between the people and the security forces. Because residents say, if the vigilantes had not been disarmed, maybe they could have defended the villages. Why take away their guns just before an attack? It looks suspicious, and that is why people are shouting. The story of that young man who was shot in his car makes the fear even worse, because if soldiers can shoot a civilian simply passing, who is really safe? Now let me tell you something important. This is not the first time Nigerians are hearing claims that helicopters are being used to supply criminals. For years, in different states, people have reported seeing helicopters land in remote forests, especially at night. Many times, nothing was proven, but the rumors continue because communities feel the pain of repeated attacks. In Kwara, this is just the latest example. I want you to like this video and subscribe, so that this gist can reach more people and we can keep following the updates together. Another detail residents mentioned is that the helicopter did not just come once. It came back several times. Some said it hovered in bush paths, dropped men, and then returned again later. The timing is also suspicious. It was before dawn and early morning, when most people are still indoors and the roads are quiet. That kind of timing makes it hard for ordinary people to record clear evidence. But now here is the problem: there is no clear independent evidence yet. No confirmed video, no satellite images, nothing official. We only have testimonies of residents. Authorities may come tomorrow to deny it, to say it was just surveillance. But if it was surveillance, then how come villagers are getting killed, vigilantes are targeted, and civilians are shot on the road? These contradictions are what make people so angry. Now I want to ask you watching, do you think this helicopter story is true, or do you think it is fear and panic making people exaggerate? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And please don't forget to like and subscribe, it helps us a lot. Listen closely, this is the full, straight to the point report on what is happening in Kwara, clear, come on to the point. Right now, residents of Ajase and several neighboring villages woke up to a shocking scene, a helicopter flying low over their area in the early hours, circling, and then landing in bushy parts. People say armed men came down from the aircraft and moved into the communities. Not long after, violence erupted. Local people say those who normally defend the villages, the vigilantes, were disarmed just days before, their weapons taken away under the explanation that they were being serviced. So when armed men arrived from the sky, villagers found themselves with little defense. That is why the mood in the towns and villages is angry and frightened. People are out in the streets protesting, blocking roads, demanding answers and protection from the authorities. If you are watching this, please like this video and subscribe now so we can bring you more verified updates as they develop. An eyewitness account that keeps coming up is this: a man traveling from Kogi State around 8 in the morning said soldiers flagged him down on the road. He did not stop and was shot at. His car window was smashed and he was hit in the shoulder. He survived and is speaking up. Others say they heard multiple gunshots at dawn, saw men moving in the bush, and watched the helicopter return more than once. Several residents described the aircraft hovering close to the ground, landing in clearings, and then lifting off minutes later. Because of that timing, before dawn and just after sunrise, many people were indoors and not able to film clear evidence. Still, the number of witnesses and the consistency of their accounts fuel the protest and the demand for action. Again, if you find this report useful, press like and subscribe so more people see it and so we can keep following this. This situation raises hard questions. First, who owned or operated that helicopter? Second, who were the men who came down, criminals, insurgents, mercenaries, or something else? Third, why were community defenders disarmed days before the alleged landings? These are not small or casual questions. If the helicopter claim is accurate, it points to an escalation in capability for whoever is behind this violence. Helicopters are not easy to acquire or operate. Using them to insert armed men into remote communities marks a serious change in tactics. If true, this could shift how security is managed across many rural parts of the country. Please take a moment to hit like and subscribe. It helps this report reach people who may have critical information. Let us be clear about what we know and what remains to be verified. We know many residents are complaining and protesting. We know people are wounded and scared. We know witnesses describe helicopter activity followed by armed men moving into villages. What we do not yet have in the public domain is independent, hard evidence that fully proves every part of these claims, for example, clear, time-stamped video of the helicopter landing and men disembarking, flight records showing the aircraft's movements, or official statements confirming an operation of that kind. In the absence of such evidence, these remain serious allegations that demand transparent, fast investigation. If you are watching from the area and you recorded anything, please send it to the channel or to trusted media, but do so safely. Now think about why this situation has escalated trust issues between the people and authorities. When local defenders are told to hand over their weapons, they do so believing it will make themselves and their communities safer, often because a security agency promises centralized control or promises to protect them. If weapons are taken and then attacks happen shortly after, suspicion naturally arises: were the disarmament orders genuinely for the safety of civilians, or were they part of a plan that left communities exposed? People are asking whether the disarmament was coordinated with groups that then attacked. Those are explosive allegations and they must be investigated immediately. Again, share this video and subscribe so more people can hear this demand for accountability. We must also consider the broader context. For several years, rural communities in different parts of the country have reported strange aerial activity at night, helicopters seen landing in forest or remote clearings. Often the reports are scattered and difficult to verify. In some past incidents, authorities said such aircraft were conducting legitimate surveillance or operations against criminals. In other cases, communities suspected the aircraft were supplying groups operating in the forest. The key point is that when citizens repeatedly report unusual aircraft activity and when attacks continue, the public's patience and trust erode. The situation in Kwara now is an acute example of that longer trend. If you want the latest follow-up posted to this channel, like the video and subscribe now. Let's focus on immediate risks for residents. First, the safety of ordinary people. When armed men appear and local defenders are unarmed, civilians are at risk of robbery, abduction, injury, and death. Second, displacement. If people fear repeated attacks, they will flee their homes, farms, and markets. That hurts livelihoods and worsens hunger. Third, escalation. If communities take matters into their own hands and retaliate, cycles of violence can widen quickly. Fourth, a breakdown in trust. When villagers lose faith in official protection, they may distrust or obstruct legitimate security operations in the future. All of these harms are real and immediate. Please click like and subscribe. This helps keep public attention on those at risk. What should the government and security agencies do right now? First, issue a clear, public statement explaining what flights were in the area and who authorized them. Flight logs and air traffic data can provide answers. Second, deploy independent, transparent investigators to collect evidence on the ground, including testimonies, photographs, medical reports, and any available video. Third, protect vulnerable communities immediately by restoring patrols, returning legitimate arms to vetted local defenders if that is the right approach, and deploying rapid response teams. Fourth, communicate. Authorities must tell citizens what steps they are taking to stop further violence. When words are missing, suspicion grows. If you agree this needs action, hit like and subscribe so this demand for transparency grows louder. Let me break down the likely scenarios given this report. Scenario 1. This was an operation by criminal groups with access to aerial support. If so, this represents a dangerous expansion of capability by criminals and would require a swift, strategic counter-response from national security agencies. Scenario 2. This was a legitimate security operation, surveillance or insertion by state forces, that went wrong or was misinterpreted by locals. If so, clear and accountable communication from those agencies is essential to explain the purpose and the outcomes. Scenario 3. This is a mixture of rumor, partial truth, and real violence that became amplified by fear. In that case, independent verification and calm, factual reporting can reduce panic and help identify real perpetrators. Whatever the true mix, the priority must be protecting lives and gathering verified facts. Don't forget to like and subscribe as evidence and statements emerge.